Let's talk about it, Boulder.
Thank you for saying that, because I don't, like, my job here isn't to prove people wrong. Like, I prove myself right.
As you all know, Shedeur Sanders had a pretty solid debut in his first preseason game, shocking the world and getting all of his backers really behind him. Everybody really had a lot of things to say, really good things, about the way Shedeur played in his first start in the preseason. And, you know, a lot of good things came from the weekend. Now we got proclamations coming down, but won't talk about that here. But I do want to talk about this. That weekend, Shedeur did confront a Cleveland-based reporter, which thought he did it the exact way you should, and he was backed up by a NFL national reporter on how well he did in that approach. So we're going to talk about that, as well as the way Shedeur did in the last practice here on the Prime Time for College Football. Thank y'all for pulling up. Your boy Jay. As y'all know, we talk a lot about the Buffs. We cover the Sanders family. We're going to be following a lot of the Buffs also in the NFL, Ajante Wester, Jimmy Horn Jr., all the way down the line. So as those come up, we're going to make sure we try to talk about how well they've done underneath this Coach Prime era here in Boulder. But I wanted to dive into, Shedeur did a good job. We're going to lead off with that. Plus, Colin Cowherd believes that the Browns have stumbled into some success a little bit on accident. Thought that was pretty funny. But first, let's see Shedeur confronting someone in the media at the game.
Tony, I be hoping you be, hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You always say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't seen nothing positive that you ever say. I think I'm positive every day. What up, man? Come on, Tony. What I do to you, Tony?
So as you see, Shedeur, he approached and addressed Cleveland-based sports journalist as well as analyst Tony Grossi, and he asked him, hey man, can you say something nice? Why always say negative stuff about me? But I think the thing that jumped out to me the most about his approach was you could see him laughing and joking with them too, while at the same time asking him, hey man, can you lighten up on me? Can you show me a little love? And that is a plus to me. That to me shows a lot of growth and maturity for Shedeur. It shows that, of course, he hears what's said about him, while at the same time he doesn't take it truly personally. He just asked the question. And in Rappaport, ESPN, NFL Insider, talked about over at NFL Network and NFL.com. He talked about it. He said this, really like this, an honest dialogue between long-tenured reporter and a young player. This is how it should be, especially with the legit laugh at the end. People never see these interactions, but they happen in the locker room all the time. And honestly, this was a good one, because I think that Tony's going to probably look at this and be like, you know what? He's a good kid. I'm going to continue to critique him as a quarterback. I'm going to continue to critique him as a player. But I'm going to try my hardest now to not make it personal. And to be honest, that is the one thing I know that I, as a person that covers college football and sports and teams, that's what I try to be. I don't want to make it personal. I want to make sure that it is a legit critique of the game. Because going personally, to me, it's just rude. There's no real reason to do that. You may not like somebody personally, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not liking somebody. But the big thing here is cover the game. Talk about the game. Break down the game. Break down what about their game you feel like needs to be critiqued. But when you saw on TMZ posting that Shedeur's walking in with an entourage, and you see all of these aggregated accounts re-aggregating it, and it's like, wait, that's his teammate. He's walking in with teammates. Is that an entourage now? I did not realize that if Shedeur walks in, or any quarterback or any player walks in with one of their DBs or one of their wide receivers or one of the offensive linemen, it's now entourage. Truth be told, I actually hope that Shedeur now going forward walks in, and I actually want Flacco to do this. I even want Dylan Gabriel to do it too. Walk in with your offensive line in front of you, dressed in street clothes. Make it look like you get a whole bunch of bodyguards. Just, that'll shut a lot of people down in regards to that mess. That should help in that conversation, right? See about that. But the Cleveland Browns, of course, ESPN Cleveland loves them some Shedeur. And they put out the QB tracker from training camp. As you can see, it appears that Shedeur has been doing very well. 10 for 14, 2 touchdowns. Pickett did well, 5 for 5, 3 TDs. Gabriel, 7 for 10, 3 TDs. Flacco, 7 for 11, 1 TD. Nobody threw an interception, so all they did well. But it looks like they're giving Sanders more reps. And now the question is going to be, what does he look like in game 2? I know that still dealing with injuries with everybody else for the most part, but Pickett looks like he's making his return. I can expect Shedeur to actually play more going forward, but we'll see. We'll see on that. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I want to hear y'all's thoughts. Now, I mentioned this. Colin Cowherd had something to say, and I thought this was interesting. Let's hear Colin real quick.
Story time, Uncle Colin. So there were these two scientists back in like the 60s for 3M, the company 3M. And they were trying to create this super strong adhesive for the aerospace industry. But even though they're scientists and smart guys, they ended up creating a much weaker adhesive that was very removable. And that became Post-it notes, which are probably more important anyway. But the point being is they stumbled into wild success. And I think that's what the Cleveland Browns have done. The coach and the GM didn't want to draft Shedeur Sanders. And they did in the 5th round, 2 rounds after Dillon Gabriel. And he's crushing it. He's their best quarterback in camp. Colin, he's facing backups. Yeah, he's throwing to him as well. Sometimes you stumble into success. It's not a straight line. It's not linear. Brady with the Patriots, Brock Purdy to the Niners, Kurt Warner to the Rams. It's not always a straight line. So the staff, because they picked, and the GM, because they picked Dillon Gabriel 3rd round and Shedeur 5th, they're giving Dillon Gabriel most of the first-team reps, but not all of them now. Not all of them. The coaching staff cannot deny what's happening. And here's the difference. Let's forget Flacco for a second. He'll probably start, and Kenny Pickett's not the future. Let's concentrate on the 2 kids. Shedeur Sanders is 34 of 44. 9 touchdowns, 1 pick. The most accurate quarterback easily in camp, 77%. Dillon Gabriel is the least of the 4 accurate quarterbacks, 54%. Okay, so I'm sorry, they're all thrown to the same guys, same protection, same coaching staff. And that's why you got to be careful about Dillon Gabriel. If you just talk about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, they did not have similar college experiences. Okay, Shedeur Sanders has Travis Hunter and a bunch of non-Sunday players. Dillon Gabriel went from powerhouse Oklahoma to powerhouse Oregon. And Oregon, outside of Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia, Oregon had the most guys drafted. They had 10 guys drafted, NFL receivers, left tackles, right? So Dillon Gabriel's playing with pros. Pros everywhere. Receiver, Rams drafted their tight end. The receivers, their left tackle. Pros everywhere. Great staff. One of the highest paid staffs in the country. Shedeur Sanders had Travis Hunter, who got doubled and tripled. So it's just like you and I, you can't compare a Yale GPA to a community college GPA. But if you give them a standardized test or they're taking the bar to be an attorney, okay, now it's fair. So that's why I think I don't want to hear about what Dillon Gabriel did in college. Shedeur didn't have that experience. The OTA and the mini camps, that's the standardized test.
And as you can see, Colin Cowherd has not changed his tune, but Colin Cowherd is pointing out the truth. Shedeur is now moving up the chart the way that we all expected him to. Now, I wanted y'all to just hear that because I didn't really have much commentary behind it, but it was one of those that, yeah, we should have expected that, right? Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me hear y'all's thoughts. All right, later today, we will start our series where we're going to break down the positions. We're going to dive into position breakdown for the Buffs. We will start with the secondary. So that will come out later today. So make sure you tune in. Hit the like, subscribe, bell notification so you don't miss that. We also break down Shedeur's first game a little bit and how he played. You can check that out here as well as the playlist for all the Buffs in the NFL. All right, we'll chop it up soon.